First story. My fiancé, now ex, stalked her AP and his family after he ended it with her, and I just found out about everything. It made me realize how alone I truly am. To say I am broken now is an understatement. I was with my fiancé Abby for 5 years. We got engaged last year. What I didn't know for the past 2 years, Abby was having an affair with the married AP that she met at the gym. I came to find out about the affair when the AP's wife came over to our place rather angrily last Friday and told me everything about the affair, AP ending the affair when his wife found out about it, and how Abby didn't take it well and stalked their whole family including the kids. She reported Abby to the cops for stalking and filed for a restraining order. Abby wasn't at home at the time when this happened. When she finally realized I never knew about Abby's cheating, all she did was give me a pitiful stare and told me all the best. She did, however, give me pictures captured from the cameras they installed of Abby lurking around their house. Abby came home around nighttime and she looked like she was crying herself. She, however, tried to act cheerful. But when she saw the pictures on the table and me staring at them, she tried to hug me, to which I pushed her away. I wanted to ask so many questions, but all I could muster was why. She just sighed like she was bored and told me she stopped loving me as soon as she met AP. She felt AP was the love of her life. During those agonizing moments of just hearing how monotonous her tone was, I felt numb and broken inside. I resolved to not cry, but seeing how she didn't even feel anything for me made my eyes tears. She noticed that too and tried to approach me, but I put my hands up and told her that she needs to leave. Abby nodded and packed some of her stuff and left. She told me she will come on Sunday to pick up the rest of her stuff. On the way out, she returned her engagement ring to me and just said sorry for hurting me, but it felt hollow. On Saturday, I let her parents, my parents and our mutual friends what's up. Her dad apologized to me and told me that he will always be around for me no matter what. It was a relief because her dad and me really bonded over our project cars, and it felt great because I never had any affection from my own parents. My parents' response was to tell me I told you so, and it was a mistake telling them because my mother spread the news to my other relatives, even when I told her not to. No one reached out to me much, and by the time Sunday came, Abby was there with a friend, Lisa, one of her college friend. She looked angry at me for disclosing about her to her parents, but I guessed she knew she didn't have a leg to stand here. I just sat there on the couch staring at my TV till they were done. Lisa approached me and gave me a hug, saying she is sorry for this and wanted to tell me for the longest time, but felt conflicted if she should be interfering. All I could muster to her was to get out. When Abby was finished, she sent some money to my banking account to cover this month's rent, and she will pay me back for the loan I gave her, which I now realized was actually money to fund her stalking. Inside of me I wanted to yell and curse her. I wanted to grip and shake her. I admit I even wanted to physically hurt her, but all I can do is nod and close the door. She came back once more, and when I saw her, I asked her what does she want, and she just told me that she is sorry for everything and hoped I find someone better than her one day. I just shut the door and sat on my couch the whole day at Sunday. By Monday I just routinely went to my gym in the morning and started cleaning my house. Anything she left I assumed she didn't want it and threw it in the trash. I gave my remaining liquor supply to my neighbor, because I've been drinking whatever alcohol I can get my hands on since Friday, and realized I was feeling sick. I have been functioning as a robot since Friday, and only tonight I finally broke down in tears over what happened. I feel so lonely at this moment, and the events that has transpired and my realization has made me feel I have never been loved my entire life. My parents never cared for me that much. My friends, it seems, only want to be around me for the good times. Not one of them have even called or even visit me. The one woman who I thought I would be married someday was so in love with her AP. She risked her career and life to stalk a guy who probably used her to have fun outside his marriage. It feels like I am in a deep pit which I can't crawl out of. I am functioning normally on the outside, going to work, working out, doing my household chores, but everything is like static around me. I don't know how my life just imploded like that, and why was I so stupid to not see the signs? I always believed her when she said it was work stress, or when I got calls from her late night and something about her doesn't sound right. I never questioned it deeper. I just don't know what to do with my life anymore. Everything feels like a void to me now. Second story. Wife had a 3-month-long affair while I was deployed. So this is going to be a lengthy post. So here goes. This entire year has sucked. So much so that it feels like everything that has happened was out of my control no matter what I did. My 31M wife 30F had an affair. Now everyone always thinks this won't be my wife. Oh, and trust me, not in a million years would I have imagined my wife would cheat, but here I am. In January of this year, I deployed. My wife had just had a weight loss surgery a few months prior to me deploying, which I was happy I was able to help facilitate. She had been overweight and she's quite a short girl, and it had been a long time for her. I always thought she looked amazing though. I acknowledged she was overweight because she hated it when I lied to her, but I told her she carried it beautifully. Well, on my deployment she decided to change locations and be close to my family during this deployment while I was gone. Our plan was for her to get a job to be busy. We had already discussed the specifics together as the team we were, but for some reason she decided to last minute go into bartending. Oh man, I heard the Jody jokes ringing in my head. Then she was losing weight fast. She looked amazing, and I always knew she would because she always looked amazing to me, but wow. As you can imagine, on deployment I ended up getting in a very vulnerable state, and she was always gone at this bar. I tried to be cool about it because I'm not into controlling my wife. She iced my property. I told her I supported her decision, but I also told her I'm a guy, so you need to watch out for this, that and the other. We are guys, we just know this stuff. Well, in March I told her she wasn't doing enough because I really needed more of her. I shouldn't have said that because apparently that caused a chain reaction I would have never expected. She began lying about what she was doing. I had her location so she couldn't lie about where she was. The first time I caught her in a lie, she lied about her location and she made up another excuse which at the time I believed. And there were many others after that. Him talking being at a gas station at 2 a.m. for 30 minutes, etc. And every time I saw something strange, I should have trusted my instincts. I'd ask her and she'd lie or omit the truth. She started talking about open relationships that people in the bar had, making me really uncomfortable. I came home to visit in April and she was distant. Well, after having an argument about my trust in her in May, she started saying that before I said what I said in March, she was crazy about me. I was caught off guard. I had no idea what I had said affected her in that way. I apologized and she said she needed space. I apologized, got a bit more romantic, etc. Well, in June we were talking and her smile looked sweet but sad. She hung the phone up and told me she cheated. Although it took a while to get the whole truth, it went from 1-night stand, to 2-night, to 3, to 7 encounters, 4 of which included penetration. She cried and sobbed and convinced me it was just physical. Even thought I was still deployed. She kept telling me that she loves me. My mind has been screwy by this. And the details, I'm talking like rough sex. The things I was more than okay doing to her, and come to find out I'm much better because I already did that stuff before her. She was just vanilla and I was okay living my life like that. But this, whether I do it better or not, is my issue. The fact she couldn't wait for me to show her what her smaller new confident self wanted and needed, which was no problem for me to fulfill. And what if he had been better? Would I be left in the dust? This has been disturbing and disgusting to me. But since being back together, the sex is better than ever and she's back to the sweet non-distant wife I used to have. But now I'm distant. We have a 3-year-old, a beautiful girl. She was living with my parents during all of this. It happened in my car too, and at this person's house. I got lied to, betrayed, berated, deflected at, disrespected, and my pride is way too high for me to even have thought I'd make it through something like this. We have been working on things, marriage counseling and therapy, and she's been making a lot of progress. She's had her moments of weakness. She cried during sex because another woman had a thing for me and made it very apparent, and this was after I had found out that I approached this woman. I've not slept with anyone else. Part of me is like, how dare she act like me? Talking to a woman is such a crushing blow compared to what she did. However, I'm also seeing a woman who never felt like she was good enough for me, even though I tried to make her see that for 6 years of our relationship. Now she's all over me. For the most part, one letter. I give her exactly what she wanted, but what the hell am I doing? I love her and want this to work, but this amount of disrespect. Am I stupid for loving and wanting my wife after all this? She had been an amazing woman our whole relationship, but I don't look at her the exact same. It's been 40 some odd days since I've found out. I need help sorting out my feelings. Any other woman I would have left, but I've had you for this girl since high school. Even when we were with other people in our lives, I even thought about getting back at her. She's gorgeous, but I'm also a pretty attractive guy, and she used to be jealous when women talk to me. I guess she is again now? IDK, should I really level this playing field? My unit commander shared his story to me when I was in the military. His first wife cheated on him. They divorced because she couldn't or wouldn't stop. When he got out and eventually remarried, his current WW of 7 years also cheated on him. He recovered from the first cheating marriage, but D-Day with the current wife was 5 months ago. So still very much in recovery for this one. He said, just know that it's not about us at all. It's about their lack of stress management, discipline, self-love, and/or ability to communicate. You may have done things to make the marriage more vulnerable, but she ultimately made the choice to burn your trust and goodwill. You are no less of a man, no less strong, intelligent, good, or capable. You're in a terrible, rough spot, but I can promise you that it passes. The mind movies, the pain, it continues to dull with time and processing. It sucks for a long time, but just know that really, you will come out the other side of this and be an even stronger man than before. I with him. My other military buddy Jay also experienced his WW, also had an affair after some drastic weight loss and renewed confidence. Said she felt like she looked the best she had since high school. She was always beautiful, and not just to me. This of course attracted her ex-boyfriend Keith when they saw him randomly at her high school homecoming football game. Keith had been divorced for 3 years after his wife cheated on him and left him. He had been the only one to ever reject Buddy J's wife romantically when he broke up with her 15+ years ago, but she would still be his booty call anytime he was in town, and they were both single. Keith started putting the word out that he messed up with her, and she was the one that got away, which screwed with her head. They were in a rough spot, because he had finally put the foot demand and demanded boundaries with her mother. Toxic narcissist that WW has enabled and rug-swept her behavior for years. He couldn't take the toxic cycle anymore and was concerned that it would start impacting the kids. WW was on board initially and they went to MC to learn how to navigate it. But after a few months, she broke down and reverted to being her mother's lapdog again, and then Buddy J became the enemy to both of them, as he was still trying to hold boundaries. Shortly after, Keith is throwing flame emojis on all her Instagram posts and messaging her coming on strong. Long story short, it was an ugly affair and he went through 30 days. They are 13 months out from the last and doing great. Intimacy still through the roof and much more adventurous than before. She was also always the more vanilla one, as I was much more experienced. However, she didn't do anything crazy outside of car sex and parking lots with Keith. Has anyone ever gone through anything similar? Wife had a 3-month-long affair and am broken but love her. Third story. I, 33M, got cheated on, 34F, in a long-distance relationship. What do I do now? Got cheated on. What do I do now? Just to preface, yes, we broke up. I, 33M, did a bad thing and looked through her, 34F, phone. The suspicious behavior just kept piling up and I had to know. We had always had an open phone policy until recently. She lied to me about it for over a month until I found out about it this morning. We were having problems and almost broke up like a week or two after she cheated. It could have been an easy out, but instead she led me on in believing we were gonna work through stuff and things would get better. Now I'm here, feeling sick and empty. I don't know if I'm gonna go to work tomorrow. I have paid sick so I could take the day off, but this 3-hour drive back home is gonna suck. Backstory. Found out yesterday. Here's my experience. Well, I just need to get the whole story out of my mind. We had been dating for 12 years, 33M and 34F. It started in college and we went long distance after I graduated and moved away. I would go back and spend time with her at the very least once a month and with daily calls. We had been having problems with her feeling like she's not getting enough attention from me, which I wanted to change and brought my weekly hours at work from 50 to 60 to around 40. Well, she started hanging out with this coworker and suspicious activity just kept piling up. She talked about him and hung out a little too much. I raised concerns, but it was nothing to worry about. Well, she started being protective of her phone when we were together and even got to the point of being sex repulsed by me. She apparently slept with him around this time. He knew she had a boyfriend, so he's also a piece of shit. We talked about breaking up 2 to 3 weeks ago, and she decided we should try a bit longer and that things would get better. It would have been such an easy out and I would have never known. That's one of the biggest things I'm mad about. Eventually all the suspicious behavior piled up too high and yesterday morning I decided I had to know. So I went through her phone, which I know is bad and an invasion of privacy. In there I found messages from the guy saying shit like sex was nice, we should use a condom next time, and other talks about moving forward. I felt so sick reading those messages. I confronted her and got nothing back but okay, go home from her, no sorries, no we can fix this, nothing. I got all my stuff and left. Later on we texted about what happened. She claimed that she was just planning on cutting him off but couldn't because he was persistent. That she was sorry but felt numb. She still loved me, but also still placing some of the blame on me. I said have a good life, and then just deleted everything relating to her from the past 2 years. I still feel so sick to my stomach and heartbroken. I DK what to do with my day anymore. I was working so much to be able to afford to support both of us for when she moved up here so she could have time to find a job. I know rationally my life isn't over and I'm still young, but I feel like I've lost a lot of direction in my life. Luckily I have good friends and family to help me out, but anytime I'm alone all I do is dwell. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.